malnutrition and food insecurity in both the short and medium term. On Thursday, February 29, 2024, Speaker Tajuddin Abbas inaugurated the committee. Speaker Abbas, who was represented at the inauguration ceremony by the majority leader of the House, Right Honorable Julius Ihonvere, reiterated that the committee is very crucial to the vision of the House to be responsive, results-oriented and effective in performing its constitutional mandate towards the security and welfare of Nigerians.
The mandate of the Committee on Nutrition and Food Security is clearly documented, clearly stated in the current edition of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives. But beyond that, as it is stated there, everything that has to do with nutrition, everything that has to do with food, as it is domiciled in any ministry, department, or agency or government. Beyond that, after the Speaker announced the committee on the 30th of November 2023, I had a session with him and he shared with me his vision, why he had to come up with this very brand new novel committee. Recall that was at the time we were having quite a lot of natural disaster, especially remember the flooding that happened in Borno State, and then of course the crisis, the headers crisis with farmers and all that has affected the production, of course the farming and production, and then of course generally the food value chain in this country. So ours is to legislatively provide some solution, to assist the executive government in curbing the twin challenges of malnutrition and lack of food. So clearly, in the standing orders, we are to look through the ministries and agencies of government and see if and where we have issues that has to do with nutrition and food, and then provide legislative support, legislative oversight on the nutrition and food items across ministries, departments, and agencies of government. Clearly, so that's what our mandate is. And beyond that, the Speaker made it very clear to me that this is his own way of trying to support the government of the day, and then to provide solutions, support and provide solutions on how to curb the twin issues, challenges that are facing us, notably malnutrition and food scarcity. So that's
the first step taken by the House Committee on Nutrition and Food Security after its inauguration and the mandate given to it by the Speaker was the hosting of a 3-day retreat with the 36 speakers of the state houses of Assembly in Owerri, the Imo State capital. At the retreat, Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, who was represented by Right Honorable Miriam Oloha, emphasized the importance of the meeting. He expressed optimism that the state houses of Assembly will be better sensitized on the necessity of a nutrition and food security committee in their legislatures. The opening ceremony of the Owerri retreat was followed by technical sessions during which experts, development partners and lawmakers brainstormed on different important topics. During the retreat, Honorable Okafor commended the Speaker of the Oyo State House of Assembly and Chairman of the Conference of Speakers, Right Honorable Debo Ogudori, for galvanizing his colleague speakers and for providing legislative leadership at the state level. The Chairman House Committee on Nutrition and Food Security noted that Ogudori's prompt response to the call for the involvement of state houses of assembly was pivotal to the success of the Owerri retreat. He also commended the role of development partners for their support to Nigeria's development and growth.
One of my proudest moments was when I got the full number of the current chairperson of the Conference of Speakers of Nigeria, the current Speaker of Oyo State House of Assembly, Honorable Debo. I called him and I shared the vision of the committee with him on phone. That was ahead of our retreat, our inaugural retreat in Owerri. Between the 2nd of May and the 4th of May 2024. And the young man, I hadn't met him before, and he said, "What the roof is about putting food on the table and making food available for Nigerians. I'm going to be there." And he was in the way, right, with so many of his speakers. And that meeting in a way has formed the basis, the foundation of what we have to do as a national legislative network on nutrition and food security. Because one of the takeaways from the meeting in Abuja was that the speakers of the various states of assembly agreed to go back to their states and set up a similar committee on nutrition and food security across the 36 states of the federation as we have it today. So, combination of my committee at the House of Representatives and the committees in 36 states is what we have today as National Legislative Network on nutrition and food. So, the support from the speakers, particularly the support I started getting from the current speaker of the State Assembly, I can tell you is what has also contributed to the success that we have recorded today.
On his part, Chairman of the Conference of Speakers and Speaker of the Oyo State House of Assembly, Honorable Debo Ogundoyin, assured that the State Houses of Assembly will key in on the plan to reduce food insecurity and hunger through legislative action. On 22nd of July 2024, Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, PhD, GCON, represented by the Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu, launched the network on nutrition and food security. He also declared open a 2-day retreat by the network. The network consists of chairmen of state houses of assembly, committees on nutrition and food security, and clerks of committees. Also at the retreat, the majority leader of Ekiti State House of Assembly, Honorable Tobilope Ige, was elected the chairman, forum of chairpersons of committees on nutrition and food security in the State Houses of Assembly. Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, PhD, was also decorated as the national patron on the National Legislative Network on Nutrition and Food Security. The launch of the National Legislative Network served as a platform for lawmakers from the states and the National Assembly to discuss the problems and solutions with regard to nutrition and food security. Development partners and experts led the discussions during the technical sessions. Earlier in the opening ceremony, the Minister for Health, Professor Muhammad Ali Pati, the Minister for Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, and the Minister for Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, turns to share the sectorial interventions, programs and policies introduced by the Tinubu administration to significantly reduce hunger, malnutrition and poverty.
Rising from the retreat in a way where we had discussions with the speakers and then the understanding that they should go back and set up the committees on nutrition and food security. And the reason is very simple. When we started the conversation, maybe the committee was inaugurated by the national speaker. I don't know how to improve on the loss of Nigeria with respect to nutrition and food cannot start by in Abuja. There was a need to take it to the subnationals, that is the states, and then of course subsequently to local governments like we have it today in 774. When we finish from the way between 2nd and 4th of May, we now, after the committees, various House of Assembly have set up the committees in their houses. The chairmen or chairpersons and their clerks converged in Abuja on the 22nd of July 2024. And then for 2 days, the first day we inaugurated the network. And then incidentally, the chairpersons got together and appointed to Ige, who is the current leader of Ekiti State House Assembly, as their chairperson. And they have other offices, including zonal chairman. So you have 6 sub-chairmen in the 6 geographical zones. And you could see that when we put the crossing call on the speaker sometime in March this year. And there's a crossing call on the vice president. So we took along the sub-zonal chairman or chairpersons, and then we paid crossing call on the other speaker and then the vice president. So what happened in July was the inauguration of the National Legislative Network. That's comprising my members of the House of Reps Committee on Nutrition and Food Security, and the chairman and clerks of the corresponding committee in the 36 State House of Assembly.
Following the success of the retreat for speakers of the 36 Houses of Assembly in Owerri and the launch of the Legislative Network in Abuja, Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, PhD, GCON, on Thursday, July 31st, 2024, announced plans to host a national summit on nutrition and food security. Speaking at the inauguration of the local organizing committee of the planned summit held at the House of Representatives wing of the National Assembly, Abbas said the House recognized the need to intervene in the growing crisis of hunger, malnutrition, and food insecurity. Abbas was represented at the LOC's inauguration by the Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Benjamin Kalu. In recognition of the legislative oversight work carried out by the House Committee on Nutrition and Food Security, Honorable Chike Okafor was appointed into the Nutrition and Food Security High-Level Strategic Board for Nutrition 774 initiative. The House of Representatives welcomed the appointment of Honorable Chike Okafor in a statement issued by its spokesman, Honorable Akerotimi Jr. on Saturday, June 21st. The appointment was made by the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, who is the chairman of the National Council on Nutrition. The board formally inaugurated on Friday, June 20th, comprises of key stakeholders drawn from federal and subnational levels of government.
It's for us to, as a legislator, to bring relevant stakeholders and experts under one roof for 3 days, starting from the 8th of July to the 10th of July, to begin to have some heart-to-heart conversations and discussions. That also, we're not only looking at the stakeholders from the ministries of agriculture, health, budget and planning, and of course, we're also looking at development partners who are also speaking to the same topic, the same challenges of nutrition and malnutrition and lack of food. We will come under one roof and then begin to go for solutions. And I'm very, very confident that at the end of the day, the conversation will get to a point where we probably generate communicate and then a roadmap that will help the government of His Excellency to further do so much as much more than they are doing to ensure that food is not just available, but is affordable.
Can we put our hands together? That for me is a yeoman's job. Was put together by the Committee on Nutrition and Food Security of the House of Representatives under the leadership of Honorable Chike John Okafor, PhD. I think he deserves a better round of applause. It is on this note, therefore, Your Excellency, our special guest of honor, Vice President for the Republic of Nigeria, who chairs this very onerous session of the open week of the House of Representatives, the chief host and convener of the second open week of the House of Representatives, the People's House, Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, ably represented here by the Majority Leader of the House, Executive Secretary, National Assembly Library Trust Fund, distinguished honorable members, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I find it very pertinent at this juncture to then give a very special word of recognition as I go to invite a very passionate advocate for public health and national well-being, Honorable Chike John Okafor, PhD, Chairman House of Representatives Committee on Nutrition and Food Security. You can imagine from and also watch what went on with the short documentary that we watched, that through his tireless efforts, the conversation around food systems, nutrition, and community health has gained renewed urgency and direction within the legislative space. His leadership continues to drive meaningful dialogue and action towards a healthier, better nourished Nigeria. We salute your commitment, and with that, I'd like you to please approach the podium for your remarks at this juncture. Please let's welcome him for his introductory remarks to this session. Honorable Chike Okafor, PhD. Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, here ably represented by my brother, Senator Kashim Hassan Ibrahim Hassan Hadija, the Right Honorable Speaker, my boss, the best speaker in the history of our democracy in Nigeria. Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, here ably represented
by one of our brightest and best, an erudite scholar, professor, the majority leader of the 10th Assembly. Let me recognize very specially our host where we are seated, the Pioneer Executive Secretary of National Assembly Library, my brother, a two-term member that represented one of the finest constituencies, not only in my state, but in this country. Not only the head of my, but thank you. I want to use the Speaker of the West State House of Assembly, who incidentally today is serving as the chairman of Conference of Speakers of Nigeria, my brother Bobo. For information, his mother is from my place. So you own him in Oyo, but if you pursue him in Oyo, he will run to his maternal home. And that's in Imo State. Thank you. Use you as a point of contact to recognize the other speakers who are here with you, including but not limited to the Speaker of Ekiti State House of Assembly. The Deputy Chairman of the Committee on Nutrition and Food Security, my brother, I want to use you as a point of contact to recognize the other members of this committee who have been working tirelessly with me from inception to create what we have today. A committee when it was announced that looked like maybe we have A, B, and C, right? A committee that looked like it was in the down wrong ladder. But today, a committee that has a prominence, basically after that of appropriation and finance. But I'm not sure that it's also very prominent in terms of availability of resources. Let me rest on the established protocols. The House of Representatives of the 10th National Assembly is aware of the growing menace of malnutrition and food insecurity, along with its multifaceted ramifications, under the leadership of the Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, PhD, GCOM, who set up the Committee on Nutrition and Food Security, the first in our democracy, on November 28, 2023, to deal with this emerging threat. And he graciously appointed me the pioneer chairman of the committee. The committee, under my leadership, subsequently held an inaugural meeting on February 29, 2024, and our maiden retreat in Owerri with the 36 State House of Assembly between the 2nd and the 4th of May 2024, along with key ministries, departments, and agencies, and also development partners in Owerri, Imo State. Let me use the opportunity to place on record and commend once again the unrelenting efforts of the chairman of the Conference of Speakers of State Houses of Assembly and the current Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Adebo Ogunboyi, who not only mobilized his colleagues to attend the retreat in Owerri, but also was key in helping my committee to work towards the setting up of what we have today as a National Legislative Network on Nutrition and Food Security, which I am also privileged to be the chairman. This network was formally inaugurated on July 22, 2024 by the Right Honorable Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas. The network brings together the chairman and of the committees on nutrition and food security of the 36 States House of Assembly, along with committee members, my own committee members, under a unified legislative front. The forum of chairman of the committees on nutrition and food security in the State House of Assembly was one of the positive outcomes of the retreat we had, outcomes of the July 2027 outing that we had, 2024. This forum is led by Honorable Mobe Ige, a hard-working mobilizer and majority leader of the State House of Assembly, and the chairman of the Committee on Nutrition and Food Security of that House. This summit for which we are here gathered today was bettered by resolution of the 10th House, arising from the need to provide urgent solutions to halt the growing concerns about the effect of malnutrition and lack of adequate food in Nigerian stable. Beyond the health effects of malnutrition and lack of food, which include stunting, low birth rate, anemia in children, adolescent girls, and women, there is considerable cost economically. The cost of inaction on these parameters on the Nigeria's economy is aggregated to about 12.2% of the country's gross national income, which is about $56 billion based on data from Nutrition International and the World Bank. Food insecurity has been aggravated by post-harvest loss estimated at about $2 billion by the Food and Agriculture Organization yearly. This colossal loss alone is more than the nutrition budget of the ministries of agriculture, health, education, and human affairs put together. This continued loss is not only unacceptable, but unsustainable given the austere times in which we currently live. Under both premise, my committee is working with those in the 36 states House of Assembly of the Federation to do things differently. First of all, we are undertaking strategic capacity building sessions to have a better understanding of the width and dynamics of current nutrition and food security challenges in Nigeria. A wise man once said that once you are not informed, you are deformed. We are hoping that the capacity building sessions are institutionalized in partnership with the National Institute of Democratic and Executive Studies with support from our ever helpful development partners. This will put us in a better pedestal to provide strategic oversight to all nutrition and food-related interventions and implementing partners, including but not limited to the UN family, the World Bank, international and national NGOs, and of course, the government at federal, state, and local government levels. By so doing, we will not only have more money for nutrition, but also more nutrition for the available money. The establishment of direct budget lines for nutrition by key government MDAs is an enabling tool for increased budgetary allocation and enhanced domestic resource mobilization. We will ensure that adequate budgetary provisions at all levels are made for nutrition-specific and nutrition-sensitive interventions throughout Nigeria using our extensive legislative network. The work of the Parliament will be pedestrian without the power to enact and amend laws. We hope to strengthen this role further. Currently, we are working to pass the bill for the provision of 6-month maternity leave to pregnant women, as well as that to phase out the use of edible buck oil in our open markets. Hopefully, these bills will pass into law in the life of this current administration. This summit seeks to find ways to curb malnutrition and food insecurity through effective synergies. It is a call for paradigm shift. We cannot continue to do things the same way and expect different results. We cannot continue to impose multiple levies on long-articulated vehicles carrying food from one part of Nigeria to another and expect food inflation to reduce. This is why the new Nigeria Tax Administration Act 2025, which introduces a unified procedural framework for the assessment, collection, enforcement, and administration of taxes across all levels of government, is a welcome development. The President, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, deserves our commendation for this very bold and ambitious initiative. We now need proper sensitization on the benefits of this tax law, which in the next couple of months will be reflecting on nutrition and food security and Nigeria's economy generally. We cannot continue to allow development partners to implement and oversight themselves on nutrition interventions and expect better transparency and value for money. We cannot continue to borrow huge sums of money from multilateral institutions for nutrition interventions, and we don't have a say as to how taxpayers' money will be best spent, or ask questions if there are, to prevent infractions. We cannot continue to allow local governments to invest on nutrition and food security outside the existing national guidelines and frameworks without recourse to legislative oversight at state and local government levels. We cannot continue to fold our hands and our harvested food products rot away due to poor market access or lack of access to the farmlands due to local insecurity. The time for action should have been yesterday, not now, but it is still not late to act now. After today, the relevant stakeholders who are here gathered will continue the discussion. They will use the next 2 days right here in the National Assembly to reflect, interrogate all the issues surrounding nutrition and food security in our country with a view to agreeing on actionable solutions that will form a communique at the end of the summit. It is important to, on behalf of my committee and the National Executive Network, thank the Right Honourable Speaker for his interest in our work and for always leaving the doors open for us. We want to particularly thank him for hosting the network comprising the zonal chairman from the 6 political zones of the Federation, as well as some development partners on a visit to his office on the 18th of March 2025, and subsequently he sanctioned our visit to the Vice President. Accordingly, we want to also thank His Excellency the Vice President, Senator Kashim Sesena DCAN, for receiving and hosting the National Legislative Network in his office on the 19th of March 2025, and his kind approval for us to use the banquet hall of the Presidential Villa for this summit earlier, until we discovered that the proposed date, July 8th to 10th, coincided with the House of Representatives open week, which led to moving the summit back to the National Assembly, as Mr. Speaker graciously approved for this summit to be made part of activities in the 2025 open week. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. All the initiatives of the Nutrition Core Working Committee, which is domiciled in the office of the Vice President, including but not limited to the very laudable 177 initiative, which is pushed and driven by my younger sister, the Special Assistant to the President on Public Health, Mrs. Uju Vansensia Aloka Ni Richards Okorocha. They are commendable, and as collaborators, we are very sure that working together we will achieve the desired result. In the days ahead, we hope to deepen this collaborative efforts for the betterment of our country and help in actualizing the renewed hope agenda of His Excellency Mr. President. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is represented by our leader. The development partners have been very supportive of the activities of this committee and the network from day one. Kindly join me, sir, in appreciating them. Notable, yes, clap for them. Clap for them, you know these people. Appreciate them. We are live TV, please clap for them. Appreciate them. Development partners, thank you. UNICEF, World Food Program, CSM, Food and Water Organization, FAO, Gates Foundation, Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition, GAIN, Helen Keller International, FHR 360, Nutrition International, among others. I also want to place on record the support to our work from inception, like I'm sure we saw in the pictures and videos, the relevant ministries, departments and agencies, particularly the Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, among others. But interestingly, these ministers are very interested in our work, and their doors are always open. And I pray and I wish that their bank accounts and votes will also be open to give us further and more support. Working together, we will change the narrative under the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President for a better, nourished, and food-secured Nigeria. Long live fellow people of Nigeria. Thank you very much, and God bless us.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you indeed. This actually sets the tone for the second segment of the Open Week around strengthening multi-sectoral synergy in nutrition and food security at the federal, state, and local government levels. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, I have the
this very great respect, and I call it with immense pride. I now have the honor of inviting the speaking speaker, the people's speaker, the Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, PhD, GCON, will be represented here by the Majority Leader of the House of Representatives, Honorable Professor Julius Ehunyo, to deliver the speaker's remarks at this juncture. Please, one round of applause for him. Your Excellency, sir.
Please be seated. Good afternoon, everyone. I bring you greetings from the Speaker, who at this very point is on a very important national assignment to Kano. But I will go ahead to read his speech. But before then, let me especially say hello and thank you to the Chairman Conference of State Speakers, Right Honorable and the extension Minister and Speaker of Ekiti. I think you are doing very well. We are proud of you. The two of you have demonstrated that collaboration between the sub-national and the national can only make for better dialogue and progress. I want to thank you. You are patiently delivering the right message. Keep on doing what you are doing. I'm sure in the next election, you will either be in the Senate or the House of Reps. Well, nobody says you cannot govern your state. So I'm going to read the remarks of Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, PhD, GCON, Speaker, House of Representatives. The Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a man I call a data bank on his own, a reservoir of knowledge, humble, yet very efficient, effective, and capable. My colleagues, the chairman of the committee, especially High Chief Okafo, the Obefi of the Library Trust, Wuba, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to join His Excellency, the Vice President, at this National Summit on Nutrition and Food Security, convened by the House Committee on Nutrition and Food Security. Your presence, sir, testifies to the high priority that President Tinubu's administration places on safeguarding the nation's food supply and ensuring the health of every Nigerian. I express my profound gratitude to His Excellency for his unwavering support and to the committee chairman, our development partners, and all stakeholders whose tireless efforts have made this summit possible during our open week. We have deliberately devoted this segment of the open week to the critical challenges of nutrition and food security. This focus reflects the House of Representatives' determination to work alongside the executive in confronting one of the most pressing threats to our collective well-being. Established in November 2023, the Committee on Nutrition and Food Security responded to escalating concerns about hunger, malnutrition, and inadequate access to healthy food. Since then, it has conducted far-reaching inquiries and engagements, including its inaugural meeting in February and a nationwide retreat in May, uniting all 36 state houses of assembly, key ministries, and development partners. The 10th House of Representatives remains steadfast in its mandate to legislate effectively on issues that matter most to Nigerians. Among these, malnutrition stands out as a human tragedy and a development challenge. Millions of our brothers and sisters, especially children and women, suffer the consequences of poor nutrition. This summit must therefore galvanize us to forge sustainable, evidence-based solutions that alleviate their suffering and secure a healthier future for all. permit me to situate our work within the broader vision of Nigeria under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. This vision embraces economic diversification, security, infrastructural renewal, and human capital development with an unshakable commitment to lifting millions out of poverty and creating a resilient, self-sufficient nation. Central to this ambition is the conviction that no society can prosper if its people are malnourished and vulnerable to food shocks. By anchoring nutrition and food security at the heart of national policy, we reinforce the foundation upon which all reforms, including energy, industry, education, and technology, must rest. I wish to acknowledge the leadership of Right Honorable Adebo Ogudoyin, Chairman of the Conference of Speakers of State Legislatures, whose vision and energy have driven the creation of the National Legislative Network on Nutrition and Food Security. By bringing together committee chairmen from every state, this network is harmonizing legislative responses and ensuring that our fight against hunger is truly national in scope. The toll of inaction on nutrition is staggering. Credible estimates place the annual economic cost at 12.2% of Nigeria's gross national income, approximately $56 billion. While most post-harvest losses alone account for $2 billion each year, such figures compel us to move beyond rhetoric to concrete, sustained interventions. To that end, the committee is collaborating with stakeholders in all 36 states to transition from policy pronouncements to on-the-ground impact. Through capacity building workshops and cross-sectoral consultations, we are addressing the root causes of malnutrition and strengthening the systems needed for rapid and effective response. Nigeria has every potential to become Africa's food basket. Our vast arable lands and resident farming communities position us to lead on food production and nutrition. We are championing the mainstreaming of nutrition-sensitive programs into federal and state budgets and advocating policy reforms to institutionalize robust oversight and accountability. Currently, before the National Assembly are two transformative legislative initiatives. The first proposes 6 months maternity leave for nursing mothers in alignment with global best practice to support early childhood nutrition and maternal health. The second is to eradicate the unsafe sale of edible bulk oil in open markets, a practice that undermines public health and safety. Both measures are rooted in our commitment to protect the most vulnerable and invest in the nation's future. This summit must mark a decisive turning point. We can no longer tolerate multiple levies on food transporters that drive up prices. Nor should development partners serve simultaneously as implementers and monitors of nutrition programs without clear accountability. It is equally unacceptable to secure loans for future generations without legislative oversight of disbursement and impact. Local governments too must align their nutrition budgets within a coherent national framework subject to rigorous review. Under President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, human capital development is central to our national transformation. Let this summit renew our collective resolve, synchronize our efforts, and deliver a blueprint for measurable progress. We owe it to our children who go to bed hungry, to mothers who struggle to nourish their families, and to the generations yet unborn whose destiny we shape today. In closing, I extend my heartfelt appreciation to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR and Vice President Senator Kashim Shettima for their leadership in this critical endeavor. It is now my privilege to invite His Excellency, the one and only Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to declare this summit officially open. May God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Please be seated. Just like to offer the apologies of His Excellency the Vice President, who was meant to be here even as late as yesterday, but unfortunately he had to step in for another national assignment, which I believe is still going on even as we speak. So in that regard, I'll read his prepared speech. The Speaker, House of Representatives, Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, PhD, GCON, ably represented by the House Leader, Honorable Professor Julius Wambayo, CON, distinguished senators here present, the Chairman of the House Committee on Nutrition and Food Security, my brother and partner, Honorable Chike Okafo, other principal officers of the House of Representatives and other members of the committee who are present, presidential aides, senior government officials, in particular the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Health, the State Committee Chairman here present, especially recognize the Speaker of Oyo and Ekiti, the Executive Secretary of the National Library Trust Fund, members of the Diplomatic Corps and international organizations, as well as our esteemed partners, resource persons, honored guests, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. We are here today not simply as attendees to another nutrition event to meet, live, and reconvene at the very next summit. We are here on a quest for solutions whose outcome will determine whether the children of this country grow up with strong limbs or broad frames, sharp minds or dull spirits. We are here because we understand that nutrition is not just about food. It is what holds the promise of our future, the spirit of the national resolve that this government represents, and I am
Born November 16, 1930 in Ogidi, Nigeria. He went to Government College in Umuahia, Nigeria. In 1948, Achebe won a scholarship to the University of Ibadan to study medicine, but after a year, he changed his major to writing. After graduation in 1953, he became a script writer for the Nigerian Broadcasting Service (NBS), eventually becoming the head programmer for the discussion series. In 1956, he visited London for the first time to take a training course with the BBC. On returning, he moved to Enugu and edited and produced stories for the NBS. Achebe was unhappy with books about Africa written by British authors such as Joseph Conrad and John Buchan, because he felt the descriptions of African people were inaccurate and insulting. In his spare time, he worked on Things Fall Apart. The novel was published in 1958. The book
Sustainable financing demands accountability and galvanizes collaboration across federal, state, and local governments. Its genius lies in its simplicity, to empower every local government area in this country to act based on its unique needs, its cultural dynamics, and its resource realities. The National Economic Council and the National Council on Nutrition have both endorsed this framework. And to anchor it further, we have inaugurated the Nutrition 774 Strategic Board, a high-level government body tasked with overseeing and steering the implementation of this initiative. It is a board of doers. It includes legislators, civil society actors, and government technocrats. This is how we institutionalize accountability. This is how we end the season of rhetoric and usher in a season of results. In this quest, we are not alone. We are grateful to the World Bank for the Accelerating Nutrition Results in Nigeria program, Anniv, strengthening community-based nutrition systems in several states. We appreciate UNICEF and Medicine Sans Frontiers for the community-based management of acute malnutrition CMAM program, reaching the most vulnerable with life-saving interventions. We recognize ICAN Project by GAIN, which marries nutrition with climate-smart agriculture, and the multiple micronutrient supplementation program, MMS, by Nutrition International, combating maternal anemia and improving pregnancy outcomes. To all our other developmental partners, civil society actors, and private sector allies, we thank you. But let me say this clearly. The era of fragmented interventions is over. We can no longer afford power systems that dilute our collective strength. It is time to align. Align with Nutrition 774, align with the national strategy, align with the urgency of our national purpose. Nigeria needs one plan, one voice, one framework, and unified accountability. Anything less is a betrayal of the children who depend on us. To our distinguished legislators, this is your call to leadership. Budgetary allocations for nutrition must be consistent, adequate, and safeguarded. Oversight functions must transcend audits. They must measure impact. Policies must not die in chambers, they must live in communities. And legislation must guarantee that nutrition financing is not a matter of charity, but that of justice. Let this summit not be remembered for its attendance, but for its resolve. We are not just here to discuss the problems, we are here to write a new chapter. A chapter in which no Nigerian child is too poor to eat right. A chapter where malnutrition is not just treated, but prevented. And a chapter in which we measure our national wealth not just by barrels of oil, but by the nourishment of our citizens. So I leave you with this solemn charge, whether you are a lawmaker, a technocrat, a developmental partner, or a community leader, rally behind one vision to end malnutrition and food insecurity in Nigeria. Let this be the summit that unites our resolve, that aligns our resources, and that feeds not just our bellies, but our dreams. Because a nourished nation is a secure nation. A nourished child is a child ready to learn. Nourished people are the engine of prosperity. And in this fight there can be no spectators, only believers, only builders, only Nigerians. And with this, I formally declare this summit open. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Another round of applause for the Vice President, able represented at this event. Thank you, and thank you very much indeed. We'll take pictures very quickly with him, knowing full well that he may not have all the time to stay with us to the very end of this conversation. I think where you were is better. Yes. Please take your positions on this platform. Can we get some of the partners to join in? If you step back to where your seats were, we'll be able to accommodate more people. Let's step back, please. Your Excellency, Vice President Representative, can we step back a little bit? Let's step back so we can accommodate more. The two SSAs to the President on school feeding and nutrition are also here. They've joined in this photograph. Sir, can you step back a little bit? Excuse me, sir. Let's step back a bit. Thank you. SS Agric Business is also here. To the President, we welcome you. Let's do this with some bit of dispatch. Now the second batch, Vice President Representative spares a few minutes, sir. Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja, sir. Please spare us a few more minutes. We want to invite a few more of our participants to join in. The representative of the Vice President spares a few more minutes for pictures, sir. Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja, sir. Okay, we can take the pictures with him outside. Thank you. Whilst it's been led off, let me invite to take their seats on this side of the divide very quickly. Honorable Chike Okafor, PhD, Chairman Committee on Nutrition and Food Security. Honorable Debo Ogunde, Speaker of yesterday House Assembly and Chairman Conference of Speakers of State Legislatures of Nigeria. Mrs. Uju Awoka, SSA to the President on Public Health and Nutrition, 774 focal person. Dr. Mamat Haji Boy, UNICEF Chief of Nutrition. Please, as you hear your names, please move over to this side. Can you settle down, please? Honorable Ogunde. Mrs. Uju Anuka. Is she here?
Yeah, she's coming. She walked out.
Okay. Dr. Mamat Haji Boy, UNICEF Chief of Nutrition. Ekamen Isichoi, Deputy Director, Gates Foundation. Ekamen is what is here. But the word Ekamen is a typographical, I've been told it's a typographical error. Ekamen. Dr. Michael Ojo, Guinea Country Director. Mr. Sandy Okoyankwa, CS Sam Executive Secretary. Sandy Okoyankwa, are you here? Dr. Ahmed Abdul Wahab, Health Advisor, Nigeria Governors Forum. Okay, thank you very much. Honorable Engineer Bello Lawal, Algon National President. Head of Agriculture, Professor Gambo. Okay, you're seated. Thank you very much. Is one representing the Health Advisor Nigeria Governors Forum. Honorable Engineer Bello Lawal. Thank you. Please take your seats. He represents Algon. And so the moderator for this session Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, Speaker's representative, Dr. John Onyoko is the lead consultant and he's also the moderator for this session. So I'll hand over proceedings to him without much ado. So please, let's welcome Dr. John Onyoko with a round of applause, please. Thank you very much.
Please, I will give a bigger round of applause to the MC. The erudite MC. He has discharged his duties diligently. So welcome once again, distinguished panel. We are not new to the nutrition ecosystem in Nigeria. What are we discussing? We are discussing strengthening. Now have your attention, please. We are good to go. We are discussing strengthening multi-sectoral synergy in nutrition and food security at the federal, state, and local government levels. If you look at this panel, you recognize the presence of federal actors, state actors, and local government actors. You also recognize civil society as well as NGOs. Yes. So it is a well-composed panel. Because of the fact that we have so much to squeeze out from them, we are going to set the ball rolling. I would like to come to the chairman first. The chairman of this committee and our host. Will you take it for us, sir?
Yes.
The first question goes to you. How can the parliament, because I know you heard the NLM, how can the parliament create better synergy through effective oversight on all nutrition interventions in Nigeria? The key word is all. Effective oversight. Over to you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, first of all, the major responsibility of the Parliament in this case is to do everything humanly possible to strengthen existing laws and policies to support nutrition interventions, and also ensuring that there's a very good alignment between what resources that are put on the table and also what is achieved. And then in strengthening existing laws and policies, we want to make sure that they align with national and international standards. That is number one. Number two, Section 80 and Section 81 of the Constitution 1999 as amended gives the Parliament, in this case I'm talking about the Senate and the House of Representatives, gives us the power of oversight. While conducting our oversight functions, we want to make sure that these oversight functions are regular. We also are going to conducting or having regular public hearings and also investigative hearings, and also monitoring to ensure accountability and transparency in nutrition and food programs. The third one I want to emphasize so seriously is interministerial coordination. As a Parliament, we have the responsibility to ensure that the MDAs that have one or two things to do with nutrition and food, that has a good coordination. And I like to say that using what the federal government, particularly the Office of the Vice President, did with respect to the very laudable N774, while setting up the high-powered board. They didn't look at separation of powers. They brought together all levels of stakeholders and interested parties, including the Parliament. So that makes me, from the National Parliament, a member of that strong board, including but not limited to even the sub-nationals. The chairman of the Committees on Nutrition and Food Security in the 36 states of the Federation is also represented. The chairperson, was inaugurated. Also, someone from the Argon National President was also inaugurated, if I'm not mistaken. So, we have the responsibility to agree with the national government, the executive government, in ensuring that there's a solid interministerial coordination and we have to facilitate that collaboration between relevant NDAs to ensure a cohesive approach to nutrition interventions. Now, we cannot overemphasize on budgetary oversight. I want to take away something very key the Vice President said in his speech, which I also mentioned in my speech, that we can't have the development partners put resources on the table, spend the resources and also oversight themselves. So we have to step in to ensure, because the resources, whether they are free, whether they are grants, one way or the other, they are paid for. We have to pay them using taxpayers' money. So we will step up our oversight to include, but not limited to the spendings by the development partners. And finally, we have a responsibility to also ensure stakeholder engagement. Take for instance, this summit. We are bringing in people from all corners of the country who are speaking to the same challenges of malnutrition and lack of food. So, civil society, private sector, development partners, we have to ensure that we leverage expertise and also resources and experience. And then capacity building is very important. And like I already mentioned, working together with the development partners and the relevant NDAs, we will find resources to go back to the State House of Assembly to ensure that those members who are the chairman and members who are functioning in these committees have the requisite capacity development and building. And finally, public awareness and advocacy, trying to raise awareness about the importance of nutrition and promoting advocacy efforts to support nutrition interventions, among others. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for him. I'm sure other speakers would want to speak less because the chairman has spoken a lot. So let's go to right Honorable Mr. Speaker, sir, you have been there from day one, and you are aware that a trailer load of cows from Breeding KB to Yenagua, you pay a lot of levies along the road. So my question now is, Mr. Speaker, food insecurity has been aggravated by multiple levies, not taxation, levies because they are not restricted. Multiple levies on food products transiting from one part of the country to another. How can this be stopped by the state houses of assembly in Nigeria? Mr. Speaker, sir.
Well, thank you very much. Once again, I'm happy to be here. And our chairman has said a lot concerning the levies. Our primary objective is to remove taxes, and as we've already agreed, that is mainly called levies. The state houses of assembly, our primary objective and our role as members is to enact laws, and this can be done through the right laws. And the first thing that we have to do is recognize that we have a lot of illegal levy points, and these are some of the issues. Some states still collect levies, but even within those states that collect levies, there are a lot of points whereby you just see either actors from the local government or state government actors. They just go on the road and start harassing trucks that are transporting food. And this invariably increases the cost for food, and not just only increases the cost of food, but also hamper and hinder the free movement of food from one place to the other, either within the states or across states, or within local governments or across local governments. But what we can do as state houses of assembly, especially if it's properly coordinated, is that